it's just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Sigal Jacobson. My gosh, she was born in Russia, grew up in Israel, went to dental school in Hungary, practiced in Melbourne, Australia, and now currently is in San Diego. She's a dentist and an inventor. She's from Melbourne, Australia, and an internationally acclaimed lecturer with more than 22 years of experience in aesthetic dentistry. The Dental Product Report has nominated her as this year's top 25 women in dentistry. Dr. Sigal published several articles in major dental magazines and invented the world-renowned Uveneer system, which is a template system to deliver predictable and efficient aesthetic composite restorations. Uveneer is distributed exclusively by Ultradent and is used by thousands of clinics all around the world. She is also working to create more innovations that aim to make the general dentist work more efficient and predictable while simultaneously making it easier and more affordable on patients. She is a fellow of the American Academy of Dento-Facial Aesthetics and member of the Australian AADFA and a key speaker for Ultradent. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yeah, I called you. You didn't call me because I really liked your YouTube video. And my gosh, it's got like 36,000 views on it. Tell us about your journey with You Veneer.
Okay, so I'm a dentist and I love cosmetic dentistry and I also love composite. So I had difficulty in creating the anatomy, the facial side of the veneer. It just took me too much time. It was very artistically challenging for me. So traveling around the world, trying to learn to master composite veneer, going back to my clinic, I found out that it wasn't that easy. It was still time consuming, all the polishing part and creating the contour, and it just took too much time. And so it made it not so much cost effective for me. I decided to go and do something about it, and I love to invent. I love innovations. I actually buy everything that innovative in my practice. So I decided that if there's nothing like this exists, then I should exist. I should make it happen. It was about 5 years ago. I went to an engineering company in Melbourne, and I asked them to create me shells that simulate veneers. And my idea was just to put it on a patient tooth with the composite, cure through the template, and when I remove it, I will get the shine and the shape of the composite of the tooth. And yes, it happened. I thought it would take 2-3 months. It took about 2-3 years to create it. That was usually happening with inventions. And then when I took it to the market, I brought it to America, to the Chicago midwinter. We went through a few friends of mine from Australia. Most of them were dentists. We were at the booth in Chicago. We got the most terrible location because it was the last minute booth. But we were very attractive. People really came to our booth. They loved it. And the product was born.
That is fantastic. And where on your journey did you decide to have Dan the Man Fisher and Ultradent carry it and distribute it?
So what happened is that at the beginning, we distribute by ourselves. When I was still living in Australia, we used to get phone calls from people over the internet. We did some marketing in Dentistry Today, and we had key opinion leaders starting talking about our product in lectures. So we started to sell about 1 year before Dan Fisher approached us. But we decided that it's good for us to find a good distribution company from few reasons. First of all, we were too far. We were in Australia, so traveling so much for every dental show around the world was a hassle. The second thing is that when marketing is very expensive, so when you're doing a product, it's not enough to invent and to create it. The major part of the expense is marketing. So if we could find a good distribution company that will take us from going on the stair to being on a lift, that's what I describe it, it would be much easier for us. So we find out that there are a few companies that they fit to our product. We approach them, I won't say names, and we almost closed with one of them, with one of the companies. But then Dan Fisher, which I really always wanted him, but very hard to approach him and find. I mean, he's a very nice man, but you just can call him and say, hi, Dan, I have a product. They get like 300 products a year to evaluate. I mean, it's not easy to get there. But the funny thing is that my booth in the New York radar meeting was in front of his booth, and he saw me demonstrating with his Valo, the curing light. So he thought that I may be selling his Valo, or he didn't understand why I'm playing with his Valo. And he came to my booth, and I didn't recognize him. And I thought he was just one of the 10 dentists that were in the booth, and I'm starting to explain. And he was fascinated by the idea of how quick and fast it does, and what a conservative treatment is that for the patient. And 2 days later, he invited me to Utah, and since then, I think my life has been changed as well. Yeah.
That is awesome. My gosh, it's kind of interesting. You have a direct composite veneer instead of an indirect veneer, and you went with Ultradent, which is direct distribution instead of indirect through a distributor. So I think you are born and raised, you like direct. I think direct composite veneers are so much more minimally invasive. I mean, if my granddaughter grew up and wanted veneers, I wouldn't want to file down the enamel on her upper 12 teeth. I think that's very destructive. Are you a big fan of indirect veneers, or did this come out because you're so much more pro direct composite veneers?
That's a good question. I wasn't always direct composite person. Coming from Israel, graduated in 95 as well, we were the generation that were taught to do everything by extension for prevention, extension for resistant form. I remember we even have extension for prevention. So we were the generation of cutting a healthy tooth structure, do elective root canals, and doing full crowns, full house bridges, and that was the normal for us. And I think my main change happened when I moved to Australia. The difference between Australia, I think, in America or Israel, Australia is a very conservative dentistry. They still do a lot of dentures, and when I arrived there 13 years ago, the implants were not a big thing there. So I bought a clinic from a woman that she was a big composite person, and gradually I learned that minimally invasive might be the way to go. Nothing will happen if we don't do a full crown, if we do overlays, not from porcelain, of course, for the back teeth. And I just found that if you are more conservative, less problems happen to the teeth, less microfractures, teeth are not dying, as nerves are still alive. So I became more a composite. So my practice changed from porcelain mainly to composite. I still do porcelain veneer. They're still minimally invasive. If you prep them well, they're okay. But I just think that, as you said, for young people, for one tooth, you don't have to do 6 teeth when you do composite, because the refraction of the light is very natural, like the enamel of the tooth. So you can do one tooth. It's affordable for the patient, so you can help more patients when you do that. So all of this made me learn how to work with composite. And also I remember that the old composite, I don't know if you remember, you probably do, the first generation when we worked, they were horrible. They used to fracture, they used to stain. With time, when the bonding technology increased, when the nanotechnology arrived, the composite became better and better. They stain less, the shrinkage is much less, and you can get really nice, if you know how to work with them, long-lasting restorations.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that because I'm so young.
Yeah.
I've been practicing 30 years, but I started at age 3. It's very confusing. So so how is You Veneer doing?
Oh, now it's doing really well. There's thousands of clinics working with the You Veneer. People are very happy. In the beginning, we were afraid, if people like it or not, if they will return it, because we gave them 30 days money back guarantee. By the way, even now we're giving to them because we know they will love it. Take it, use it. If you don't like it, just return it. So yeah, no returns. People love them. They do the job. They're quick. They're easy to do. There is some other challenges, of course, how to choose the right composite, the shade, but it gives you the 50% of the work in half of the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's my four-finger golden rule. I mean, when someone pitches me a new idea, I'm like, is it faster? Is it easier? Is it higher in quality and lower in cost? And if you meet all four of those finger goals, it works. And, innovation, what was it? Henry Ford said that it's not an innovation if it doesn't bring your product to the masses. And you're making cosmetic dentistry faster, easier, higher quality, and more affordable to the masses. And doing it in one appointment. Again, I'm just not a huge fan of veneers, because when you practice 30 years, I've seen so many. When the standard young lady who's 21 years old goes and gets 10 upper porcelain veneers, tell these young kids listening today, what is that going to look like in 30 years? They don't have a good time. They file down this enamel, they take the impression, they send it to the lab, they make these veneers, they get them back in 2 weeks, they cement them on, they're just gorgeous, and it's like, okay, they're gorgeous, but what are they going to look like in 30 years?
Well, you can also say it on composite veneer as well. You don't know what's going to happen in 30 years, how they're going to look. Probably they're going to be external staining, probably. But I think that you don't. I never promise my patients anything for 30 years. Porcelain veneers, they are long-lasting. I think they're even I'm sure they're more long-lasting than composite in the way they look. But look, when I do my case selection, okay, when I decide whether the porcelain veneer or composite veneer will be inserted to this patient, how do I know? When a patient comes to me, first I will use a lot of common sense, okay? Like you said, if it's a young patient, no. But if it's a 50-year-old woman with old composite veneers and she can afford it and she's ready for porcelain for the next level, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's like a car. If you don't drive a car, you will be very happy with driving a Kia. You don't need the Porsche, right? You can always upgrade later to the Porsche. This is how I look at things. So first, when I do my case selection, is it porcelain or composite? I want to get to know the patient, expectation, past experience. I listen, I talk to them, and I use my common sense. And then I rely also on evidence-based dentistry. Is a grinder, will he delaminate my porcelain veneers? Then I will not do it. I will go 1 year and do composite veneer and just observe. And then I do a mock-up. I do a mock-up on the patient, on a model, and I show the patient. I like to do my mock-up on the patients. And I show them, and if they say, Sigal, I want something more glamorous, I want more Hollywood smile, then I understand his expectation level. Okay, so let's go for the next level. Can you afford porcelain? And I always use the mother test. Whatever I'll do to my mom, I will suggest it to my patient. And not mother-in-law, your mom or your daughter, right? Whatever you want to do to your kids, this is what I do to the patient. But sometimes they want more. That's why you have to listen to them. So this is how I do my case selections. And then I decide whether it's porcelain or composite. Again, they're both good. Nothing is wrong with each. You have to give your patient the whole options.
Which composite do you think is the best for your system? Which one looks the best, the shiniest? What is your go-to composite on a Uveneer?
All right, I get this question a lot. Which composite do you prefer? Let me tell you something. A good cosmetic dentist, I think, should not use only one composite. He should use few brands. It's not enough to have one composite, because A1 of 3M is not A1 of Voco, and it's not A1 of Ultradent, right? Because they all have a different value. So it depends on the case. Regarding the shine, you're right. Some will be more shiny because of the particle size. Some will be less shiny. But there is a very easy way to overcome that. If I see that my composite that I choose for that case is not that shiny with the Uveneer, I will apply a little bit flowable composite, not any flowable. It has to be a high fill flow, so it will not stain so much. Like Genial Flow by GC, Universal Genial Flow. Beautiful by Shofu is high fill flow. ISO from Voco, the Gradio is high fill. And I apply it on the template and combine it with the composite on the tooth. So I'll get the shine from the high fill flow and the composite. Having said that, in my drawer I have so many composite. And I don't buy the 20 colors. You don't have to. I buy A1, B1, B2, one bleach white I have, and then some translucent from different brands. And then I divide them into value, high value, low value, and medium value composite. And then it depends on the case and where do I want to head? Do I want to mask something? Do I want to just want to change the morphology of the tooth? So I have to stay with the natural chameleon effect composite. So the question when they ask me which composite do you prefer, it depends on the case.
Well said. Gosh, I wish you would contact Dr. Howard Goldstein and make an online CE course for this. Have you ever thought about that?
No. I'm actually doing here in San Diego workshops for You Veneer. Me and Dr. Jack Ringer, he's a great guy. He's doing the porcelain part and I'm doing the composite part. So it's a full day workshops. It's called San Diego Dental Hub. People come from all over the world. It's a one day and we train them to do composite veneer with You Veneers. We create composite bridge. We create individual shade tab for composite because I believe that from You Veneer, I believe that individual shade guide, they really good for you if you like to work with composite because the Vita shade guide will not really show the composite. So we do all this and it's fun. So I travel around the world now to give lectures where Ultradent sends me. But my passion is doing hands-on courses, and I want to stay at home. Look, I have 3 kids. Travel so much.
Well, next time you give a course, just tape 1 hour of it. Because if you put it on Dental Town, they'll be watching it in 220 countries.
Yeah, I will.
What website?
Tell me how to do it, and I'll do it.
What website should everyone listening go to hear about your courses? I mean, you have the uveneer.com.
But we have website San Diego, so it's SD.
Can you send them? SD.
Denthub.
Denthub.com. And and how often do you give hands-on over-the-shoulder courses?
Once a month.
Wow, you are a busy woman.
We just had one on Friday. It was really nice.
On Labor Day weekend?
Yes. People like San Diego. San Diego is amazing. You should come here.
Oh, I love San Diego. I live in Phoenix, so that's my go-to place. I can leave here in the summer, and it'll be 118 degrees, and get to San Diego, and it'll be under 85.
I heard you just came back from Melbourne, though.
I did just come back from Melbourne, and I wanted to ask you about that. When you talked about the Hollywood smile, when you travel around the world, is the Hollywood smile universal? I mean, you've lived in Russia, Israel, Hungary, Melbourne, and now San Diego. Is cosmetic dentistry pretty homogenous around the world, or do different cultures and customs and people have different views of what they want their teeth to look like?
Oh, no. In Australia, and I don't know, in Russia, I was 9 months when I moved to Israel. But in Australia, people, and also in Europe, they will want you to do the most natural cosmetic treatment. They want to look like nothing was done. They are not after the Hollywood smile. Actually, when I want to bleach their teeth, they say, Sigal, I don't want it to be too white. I mean, who asked? Yeah, in Australia, they ask it not to be too white. And they don't want it to look fake. Everything is very natural, and that's why composite looks more natural than porcelain. So composite is very strong there. But I think that as a dentist working in Australia and working in other countries, we're all facing the same issues, same challenges. We have insurances influencing there in Australia. We have dental corporation taking over private clinics. So we all have the same problems. But you're right, the audience is asking something else from us.
Yes, I completely agree that if you want it to look natural, direct composite, it's just far better than porcelain veneers. And there's so many world famous porcelain cosmetic dentists saying, look how natural that is. And it's like, well, I don't know, it's because I'm a dentist or what, but I can tell those are veneers across the room. But when, so agree or disagree?
Depends. If you use a high quality lab, you do feldspathic veneer and you work with, I don't know, the European labs, I can tell you that some porcelain veneer can look very, very natural. Although today porcelain veneers, they're not feldspathic anymore, they're not handmade. They make it, from the Emacs, and it's more machine made, so they look a little bit less natural. But companies working on the value and to make it more natural, those ingot, and now they also have the CAD/CAM machines, and they're coming with ingot of composite as well, indirect composite. So I believe that porcelain will look more natural than today, and I believe that it's just really the matter of, do you want to grind so much teeth for that? Or can a patient afford that? Or is something that he can postpone to do it later? That is the question.
So how long have you been in San Diego now?
I've been in San Diego for 1.5 years.
1.5 years, and you were 22 years in Melbourne. What is really the main differences between Melbourne and San Diego from Australia to America?
You're talking about the lifestyle?
Well, you have a lot of interesting facts about Melbourne.
Yes. So let's see. I don't think people know that Melbourne wins the most livable city award 6 years in a row, and this year is the 7th year. I don't think people think that, we have a very good coffee. I don't know if you had the latte and the flat white there. I miss the coffee. People think that we are on the beach surfing. No, Melbourne has 4 seasons a day. It's quite cold there all the year. It's like San Francisco weather. But the life there, I miss Melbourne. But San Diego is quite similar in a matter of people are nice and relaxed here, and the beaches, and it's nice. I love the weather here.
Yeah, I just lectured in Melbourne and Sydney, and taped a dozen podcasts on there. I just love Australia. I mean, and my brother moved there, and he was on a 3-year job visa, and about 6 seconds after he got there, he applied for permanent citizenship and got it. I mean, he just, he came from Kansas. It's hard to go from Kansas to Sydney. San Diego and Melbourne, I could see you thinking back and forth, but you can't go from Kansas to Sydney. It is truly, and what's so neat about it when I go down there is he doesn't even have a car. The public transportation is so good. He thinks a car is a pain, and my God, I just love that lifestyle. I'm in boring suburb Phoenix, so I could go out and sit on the street in front of my house, and no one would probably even know it, or he walks out his door, and every block is a restaurant, a bar, a bookstore. I mean, just the life is just so much more fun. I just think he has the most exciting life, and I have the most boring life. So what do you think about when dentists are referring themselves as cosmetic dentists? The American Dental Association only recognized 9 specialties, and then some dentists started calling themselves specialists in implant dentistry, and they sued them and lost. So now specialty's kind of blown open. I mean, basically, the courts told the American Dental Association, you're a private membership club. You're not a state regulator. So there's a lot of dentists on their websites that say, I'm a cosmetic dentist. What do you think of that?
Well, I agree with the word cosmetic dentistry, but I'm not a big fan of the term cosmetic dentist. Because what does it mean? That there are some non-cosmetic dentists among us? I think that all dentists should finish the restorations aesthetic. And I think the driving force should not be the aesthetic outcome. So I think the driving force should be preserve the tooth structure, keep the pulp alive, work with material that simulate the property of the tooth as much as possible. And the aesthetic will follow, If I will grind a tooth and I will lose the nerve, there is not going to be any aesthetic. It's just going to be dark, and then it's going to be a dark line. So our main concern is not going to be, yes, aesthetic, not aesthetic, I'm cosmetic, I'm not cosmetic. How we preserve the tooth structure and learn to work with materials that will mimic the tooth structure. the aesthetic will follow that. And really, I believe in that.
So I'm at your website, sddentalhub.com. Interesting, beautiful website.
Thank you.
I love that picture of San Diego. Are you very sad, or do you not care that they're losing the San Diego Chargers?
I don't know what you mean.
The football team.
Oh, you have to ask my son. I'm not involved with
Is
it.
your son into football? So tell us the journey. How did you hook up with Dr. Jack Ringer?
Jack Ringer is a very nice guy. He's not far from me. He's actually from San Diego originally. We met in the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. I think I wasn't even in his lecture, and I liked his lecture. Then I gave him the You Veneer. When the You Veneer just came, it was still hot from the oven. I gave it to about 30 dentists, key opinion leader, to evaluate it before we came to the market. I believe that if you have an innovation, give it to people to evaluate before, because you think you have a good idea, but maybe other things people think it's not a good idea. So he was one of those people that I gave them, and he was so excited about the Uveneer, and he gave us so many good testimonials, and everything free. He never asked anything in demand back, and so we became friends. And when I wanted to do the course, I wanted to do a whole day course on, and he's a porcelain veneer guy, so I wanted to incorporate Uveneer in the morning, composite veneer, and then the second level. If you want to do porcelain, yes, you can learn and do that in one day.
And once a month. That's a busy that's a busy schedule.
Yeah, we will come with 2018. We're working on a schedule, and it will be once a month. And we're getting filled quite quickly. I'm surprised how quickly people look at. Probably people looking for workshops. There is a lot of lectures, but not so many workshops.
Hands-on, yeah. And
Hands-on.
About 30,000 dentists are in the AGD trying to get their fellowship in the Academy of General Dentistry, and that's like 500 hours, and you can take it all lecture. But when you try to get your mastership in the Academy of General Dentistry, it's another 600 hours, but they want 400 of that hands-on, over-the-shoulder, and those courses are hard to find. The rarest one to find to try to complete your MAGD is a hands-on pediatric dentistry course or a hands-on denture course. I remember back in the day when we got when I got my MAGD, there was about 10 of us dentists that every year the ADA had a hands-on workshop for dentures that was participation credit courses, and another one for pediatric dentists. We took the same course by the same lecturer every year for like 5 years to get those requirements.
So you keep listening to the same thing?
Oh, yeah, because you had to have a certain number of hours of hands-on, and you couldn't find it, and it was so hilarious because when he would start his lecture, I mean, he knew like 10 of us because he kept seeing us over and over, and he goes, okay, how many people have already seen this course and came back for their MAGD? And, like half the hands went up. And he goes, how many here for the third time? And like half the hands were still up. And then he was going through it, and I think the winner was 5 times. And he just laughed. I mean, it was very hard. So hands-on participation courses are rare. How do you think dentistry has changed since you graduated in 1995? I mean, that was 2 decades ago.
Oh, yeah. I think almost every technique or material that we learn in school is not existing today. And as I said, we learn to prepare teeth with more extension than doing more conservative dentistry. I think that this dentistry in 1995, when I graduated, we actually destroyed a lot of teeth. We became the enemy of teeth. I remember when people were talking about back then on minimally invasive dentistry, the tunnel preps, I remember there was sandblasting. You remember, instead of drilling, they were all looking like Michigan, a little bit weirdos. But now I understand that with the bonding that we have today, that's the way to go. So I think that adhesive technology changed a lot in dentistry. That's the biggest change is what I see.
If you go to Dental Town, there's over 5.5 million posts. So we have a search bar. And if you type in Uveneer, there's lots of threads on Uveneer. I think it'd be huge. That townies would love it if you'd go in there and say, hey, I'm the founder and inventor of this. They're talking about Uveneers, composite veneers with Uveneer, Uveneer kit by Ultradent, Uveneer by Ultradent, easy, unique, affordable. Another thread, has anybody seen this? I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, there's...
Oh, that I didn't know. That's
Yeah,
good.
there's... Well, then that's the difference between Dentaltown and Facebook. If you go, the difference is all the social medias like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they're just a continuous news feed. So there's not really organization. Whereas if you go to Dentaltown, it's not a news feed. It's a message board by category. So there's 50 categories from root canals, implants, cosmetic dentistry, pediatric dentistry, or you can just go to the search bar and type in Uveneer and it's right back there. But like, let's say you posted a Uveneer case on your Facebook page or a certain case, it's hard to go back and find that. You know what I mean? So it's just not, I think Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn are the continuous news feed is great if you want to go a mile wide, an inch deep. But if you want to go an inch wide, something very focused like Uveneer, and go a mile deep, the posts have to be categorized on a message board. Maybe I'm old school. I started Dentaltown in '98, but my God, the message board format for me is how you really do deep learning and problem solving, where Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter is more just almost like today's newspaper, just a continuous news feed, what's up, what's not, things like that. And I think the difference between Facebook and LinkedIn is dentists on Facebook are more likely to post what they did for Labor Day, whereas dentists on LinkedIn, it's always business. It's always dentistry, marketing. It's very little personal stuff.
I think Instagram is also one of the biggest thing now.
What's that?
I think Instagram is also one of the biggest thing now. A lot of dentists, they go on Instagram. I learned that as well.
Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg, did you know the owner of Facebook bought Instagram?
Yeah.
And did you know his dad's a dentist?
I met him. He was next to my booth one time. He's a nice guy.
Oh, man, we've had him on the show 3 times. I love that guy. Can you do layering with Uveneer?
Layering, yes. People think that you can only do... So let me explain you how the actual Uveneer is working, and then we talk about the layering. The Uveneer is autoclavable, so you can reuse them as many times as you want, okay? You buy the kit one time. You have premolar, second premolar 2, up to upper teeth and then lower teeth as well in 2 sizes. You have the large and the medium, and they will pretty much fit to 95% of your patients. This is according to the Smile Design rules. So what are you doing? You just etch and bond the tooth. If you want to do, let's say, composite veneers, you apply the composite on the tooth or on the template, and you press the Uveneer, then you light cure. A lot of people, they think, yeah, Sigal, I like to do my layering technique, so why would I use Uveneer if I only use one layer? But then I'm telling him, no, you don't have to. You can do layering technique. Apply your first layer, press the Uveneer, cure, then remove the template, and then you just cut back and add the second layer. You can do even 3, 4 layers with the cutting back technique. So yes, you can do layering technique, although I like simple. I think the simplicity is the best. The more steps we have, the less predictable things can happen. So I prefer to do one single layer, and I found that with the Uveneer, because of the shape of the template, which is like that, and you press, you're going to get different thicknesses of composite. So from one composite, you will get different shades because of the different thicknesses. Different thicknesses give you different shades. So one layer will be enough, but if you want to do 2 layers, 3 layers, by all means, you can still do that.
So how was it going to dental school in Hungary? I bet that was fun.
It was the best time of my life.
Oh my God, I bet so.
Beautiful city. Have you been in Hungary, in Budapest?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. But I always get mixed up. There's Budapest, Hungary, and Bucharest, Romania, right?
Yeah, no, that's different.
And which one did Michael Jackson do his concert at? The big famous one.
I think Bucharest.
Bucharest, Romania?
Yes.
That is my favorite concert in the world. Did you ever see that video or movie or whatever? I think that was the epitomal peak at the top. But how was Budapest, Hungary?
So we went in in a program that was in English. So it was an English program. We were one of the first. Now it's very popular. It's only 4 hours flight from Israel, so it's okay. It's like if you study in, you live in San Diego and you learn in New York. It was fun because it's to live in Europe, and it's a beautiful city. The studying were really high level on the first 2-3 years. I didn't come out of the house, but then I relaxed. 4th, 5th year were much nicer. And no, it's just a very good school, and I'm very happy I went there. It's only for foreigners, and there were also Americans who went there. So we were Israelis, Greeks, some from Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Canada, America. And we still keep in touch with the students, and it's fun. It was good times.
Now, I'm just curious. Now, when you lived in Israel, went to dental school in Budapest, Hungary, could you actually have driven there if you wanted to? I mean, are there roads and bridges all the way across from... could you have driven a car there if you wanted to?
You are talking about to drive from Israel to Hungary?
Yeah.
No. There is a lot of enemy country that surround Israel, so that will not let me.
So you can, but if
Yeah.
they weren't enemies and if there wasn't a war, could you drive there? Like, I can't drive to Rio de Janeiro because south of Panama, there's you get areas there where there's no roads.
Oh, I never tried it. I guess you could, but there is too many. I don't think nobody can travel out of Israel with the car unless you go to Egypt and Jordan because they have peace with us. Anything else? No, you can't.
Yeah, I always thought they're probably. I wish they would do that down in Panama because I bet a lot of Americans in their RVs would drive all the way to Rio de Janeiro if you could get an RV. To go down there. So what other inventions are you working on now? You're an inventor. You're in your prime. What's got your mind going now? Where are your passions lying?
My passion line in doing things for dentists that will make their life easier, faster, and will be more affordable for the patients. All in the area of minimally invasive dentistry. Now, I do believe that isolation is very important, and a lot of us do not put the rubber dam. In my opinion, the rubber dam clamps, the metal clamps, they are pain, very hard to put. So my next invention called the Novo clamp.
The Novo clamp.
Novo clamp is the new clamp, and it's going to be purely silicone clamp. So you just, you're like floss, and then there is 2 wings, and this will hold the gum, and then you can just throw it. No need to numb the gum. It's very good for kids. You know how we have to numb the gum for the metal clamps, even if we don't need to numb the tooth. So there is no numbing there. It's much less scary. So I'm very excited for that. I'm doing it with a guy from Guatemala. His name is Pedro. He's a dentist. Great guy. We thought about this idea together. So
I just texted Dan Fisher a couple minutes ago and said, I'm podcast interviewing Dr. Sigal Jacobson, or your ears burning, and he just texts back, super, what a great product subject from a great inventive lady who is self-made. Our vision is about improving oral health globally with an emphasis on quality, affordable dentistry for the masses. Dr. Sigal, you are a champion. Keep that good stuff going. Howard, so are you. I admire and respect you immensely. With love and hugs to you both, Dan.
Oh, send him my hugs again as well.
But that message, it's just not the same when he's not standing in front of you punching your shoulder. Every time you talk to, if you talk to him for more than 30 minutes, your right arm won't work. Agree or dis? So
did you ever try following him? He's just running. You can't follow him. I have to take off my heels and just run after him. He's so fast.
Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you said heels because that's a common question that now that half the dentists coming out of school are girls. It was a question I didn't hear guys ask 30 years ago, but a lot of girls are asking, if I want to be a cosmetic dentist or an implant dentist, or I want to be all that in a bag of chips, can I wear scrubs, or do I need to put on heels and a dress and a lab coat over it? What do you think about that?
I don't think that scrubs is the way to go. We always looked good. We didn't have the men or the women. We always wear lab coat. We looked white. I don't know, I'm coming here to dental clinic and they all look like, sorry, but these scrubs need a good wash. So no, you have to be respectful. Heels or not heels is up to the woman. I'm used to go with the heels. I think women should look feminine. I think it's okay to look feminine. Nothing to be ashamed. We are women. As long as it's not too provocative and it's respectable. Yes, put some makeup and heels and go and do your thing. But if it bothers you and it's aching, of course, don't suffer for that. Yeah.
So when is Novel, Novel, clamp, CLAMP? When is that coming out?
Novo, like new, Novo clamp.
Right.
The Novo clamp will come up in about 2-3 months. We are just doing the packaging now.
Are you going to distribute that with Ultradent too?
Yeah, whatever. I think so. Yeah, whatever. When we get there, we'll get there. We will offer it to them, of course. And we will love if they work with us.
So that will be your second product invention?
Yeah, and I'm working on another Uveneer with more shapes. It's also coming very soon. More natural. We scan real people teeth, and we're going to get extra contour teeth for the one who want very natural looking and not the Hollywood teeth. So those templates for that, we have square teeth now and long teeth. So there will be more shapes coming. Yeah, so for now, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
You know, there's probably a few people driving to work right now listening to you thinking, I got a product idea. What advice would you give someone who has a product idea? And I want to tell my homies something I don't do. I've probably, ever since I started a magazine, Dental Town Magazine in 1994 and the website 98, at least every month, someone sends me a non-disclosure agreement and they want me to sign this legal contract, this non-disclosure agreement, so before they can pitch me their idea. And I always tell them, dude, what's Shark Tank for an hour? If you think your product's going to be successful because you have some legal racket with an NDA, I said, first of all, I don't date attorneys. I'm not going to sign any contract and start telling your attorney what I've agreed to. I don't do it. And I said, and in my 30 years, every single person that sent me an NDA, I never saw their product come to market. But every single dentist who flew down here and walked in my Today's Dental office or Dental Town and demoed me their product, they spent all their time getting, you know, plastic injection molds and designs, and they came in with a prototype and was ready to show it to me on a live patient. Those guys oftentimes hit a single, a double, a triple, or a grand slam. But the ones who, I mean, my example to them is this. Look at McDonald's. I mean, do you need an NDA to go to McDonald's? I mean, they're on the intersection. They have a drive-through. They sell hamburgers, French fries, Cokes. How many people were able to bring a hamburger and a fry and a Coke to market to compete against them? Just, you can count them on your hand. Burger King, Wendy's, In-N-Out. I mean, there's hardly any. So it's never the idea. It's the execution of the idea. So I don't sign NDAs, but what's your advice? You've taken 2 products to market. If someone was listening to you right now and had this great idea, what advice would you give them?
All right, so I agree to what you say, but in another way, I think that before they come to the market with an idea, they need to patent, or at least to a patent pending, so then they can go and tell it to everybody, okay?
Did you have a patent on Uveneer?
Oh, yes.
And when does that expire?
It just started. We got it. We were patent pending until last month. We're getting it just now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So is that your first and only patent so far?
We have the Novo clamp, which is patent pending as well. That's why I was able to talk about it. Yeah, so I have 2.
So, well, you have 1 patent and 1 patent pending.
Yes.
That is a hell of a feat to get a patent. I mean, it is not an easy process to get a patent, and I have never got a patent. I've applied for a patent 3 times, and one time they dug up something in Japan from like 1940. I mean, it's so that's a hell of a feat. Congratulations on getting a patent.
But I have to tell you as well, if a dentist wants to invent something and do the patent and do the registration and do the boxing and everything, it's very hard when you work in a clinic. And I had help from my husband. He's an accountant. He actually retired from his job to do all of this. This is a full-time job. So it's not so easy as it sounds. And he has experience with reading contract and understanding. But I really think that if dentists want to do an invention, we are the one that know what we need. We are know where is the obstacles, and we can come. The best invention came out from the people that are inside the profession. So yes, you have to protect it with a patent. It's very important, I think. And I think also a lot of dentists, they think that their idea is a game changer, and that's fine, and it's the best idea in the world. But I think that they should show it to their peers, they should show it to the colleagues and get their ideas, because maybe he likes what he invented, but the other ones, they don't really going to use it. So spending time and money on something that maybe something people will not buy, everything, you think it's easy, you come up with an idea, it will take me 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. No, it takes you years, minimum 2-3 years, and there is so much fun doing this that you need to put so much money, and especially in marketing. And unless that you're sure and you completely believe in it, don't do it. It's an expensive journey, or you want to join a company and give them your idea and they will take and help you. Otherwise, think twice before, show it to your peers, because coming with the idea is the easy part.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that in order for a company to bring, I read that in order to a company to bring a product to a dentist, and dentists have to hear about it 2 to 3 times before they commit to buy, it costs the company $300 per dentist for marketing. So not that easy.
Oh, I know. And the other thing about marketing is, we've surveyed, on Dental Town, when you start a thread, you can start a poll. So all the users have been generating polls since 1998 for 19 years, and we have a monthly poll. And it's amazing. Dentists, when they want to know about a new product, it's something like 89% always say they want to hear about it from a colleague. So even though you do all that marketing, they don't want to hear from GC or Ultradent or whatever. They want to hear from their buddy. They want to hear from Bubba. Does this work for Bubba in his hands? And if his buddy tells him it works, and that's why you should do an online CE course, show them how, because you're a dentist. I mean, you have so much street cred by just being a dentist.
No, I totally agree, and I can see that as a dentist, when I go and speak in front of an audience, and I'll speak not only about Ultradent product, I talk about everything I believe in. It worked for me because I love to teach. I love to give them any advice that I have, and I see that as a dentist, I have more credit, and they will go and buy the product than if a salesperson come and give them the pitch.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, the best reps that come to your office from Patterson or Shine or Benco, when you ask them a question, the best ones, they don't say, well, you should do this. You should say, well, who's your favorite endodontist? And you say, okay, Brad Gettleman. Well, he uses this file, or, they tell you that they're just reinforcing your colleagues that you don't know about because you're not visiting 100 different dental offices each week. But the best reps are basically a walking social affirmation, spreading the word about what these other reps are doing. Hey, we just had 3 months ago, we just had 6,000 baby dentists just get out of dental kindergarten. And this week, we just had 6,000 brand new dentists walk in as a freshman. This show is overweighted towards dental students. I mean, this show is probably 20% dental students, and the rest are pretty much millennials born after 1980. What advice would you give to the graduating class that just walked out of dental school a couple months ago, and they're just learning how to cross the street? What advice would you give this young lady?
Oh, young lady. Okay. First of all, I think that they have to find a mentor. A mentor is very important. I think they have to remember that knowledge comes from experience. A lot of them, they finish dental school, they think they know it all. Be humble. I think the more ego, the less knowledge. The more knowledge, the less ego. That's what I believe in. So experience and learn from others. Go to workshop, trade shows, lectures, online lectures. Go to online courses, as you said. Dental Town. Join groups like, if you like cosmetic dentistry, American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. If you like implant, whatever, you can find any group that you can join, study groups. That's what I believe. And also, another thing that I really believe that, look, dentistry is a very hard profession. You get worn down, sorry. So what I did is I always kept my work environment fun. I was friend with my receptionist, and we was friendly with the staff and the patients, and I really like the patients. And I always bought tools that will make an innovation that will make my work easy. Buy a good coffee machine, put a nice music. I mean, this is your second home. And even if you work for someone, bring your own music, get your coffee machine, make it like, buy your own instrument, buy your own composite. If you prefer to work with one composite, if you will bring it to the dentist where you work, it will make your life so much fun and easier. So find those ways to make long life dentistry more fun.
You know, that is profound advice on so many levels, you know, talking about staying humble and learn, find a mentor. But you know, when you look at life, you basically spend a third of your life in bed, a third at home, and a third at work. So you should really have a really nice bed, and you shouldn't have electronics in there and TVs, and you know, it should be just a cold, dark room for sleep. And if you're getting woke up 3 times a night by your barking dog, get your dog a different home. And then, but when you go back to the home and the work, these dentists have these really nice homes that they love to be in. And then they go to work, and it's this mindset that every operatory should be 11 feet wide by 12 feet long, and they're cramped. And some of my friends, when they built their dental office, they said, well, this is crazy. They said, if I'm going to spend half my waking life in my office, I'm going to go into an operatory where mom and 3 kids want to walk in and sit down. There's a sofa and a chair and cabinets. And he said, man, I got at home. Sometimes I just need to go lay down on the couch. And so he has a couch in his break room, and he has a refrigerator and a coffee machine. And it just, it's so crazy that most dentists will spend half their waking life in like an 1,800 square foot office, but then live in a 3,800 square foot home. And it's like why is your home twice as nice as your office?
That's what I think. Same. That's exactly what I think. When I bought my clinic in Australia, it was from it's very old-fashioned, all-dated, with all carpets. I just took it all, make it modern, make it my taste, and I invested more than I invested even in my house, because also this will generate me the income and the money and the time that I'll spend, that maybe later will bring me the house that I want. But first, invest in your clinic, make it your home, make everybody feel comfortable to get in, make it you, put your character in it.
Yeah. A lot of them, what would you say to her? A lot of them are saying, well, you and Sigal probably didn't graduate $350,000 in debt. I mean, I graduated 30 years ago in 1987, $87,000 in debt. But what a lot of times she's feeling upset because she's like, come on, doc, I'm $350,000 in debt. Should I work at Western Dental for 10 years to pay that off? Or what advice would you give her on that amazingly huge debt load?
Well, yeah, this debt is only, I think, in America. We don't get them so big in other countries. That's a big problem. And I think the government has to do something about that. This is not normal.
Yeah, but Americans won't. They don't get it. It's the only, we have more guns than all the other countries combined, and they don't care. So you're not going to solve that. When you talk about healthcare bills are the #1 cause of personal bankruptcy. And when you talk about a healthcare system in Australia, they say, oh, they're socialists. They're socialists. You know, we're Americans. And it's like, dude, and when you talk about education, it's the same damn thing. I mean, whenever you talk in America about how great Australia is, or Denmark, or Sweden, I mean, they just go, them are socialist countries, so then, I mean, it'd probably be easier to convert the whole country to Hindus than to bring in socialized medicine or socialized education. So you're right, it is, and that's what you're saying. It's just an American problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and only when you live in somewhere else and you come here, you realize the wrong things that happening here, like you said, with the health and with the loans that kids get with a very high interest rate. But I mean, I have to accept.
And you go to Scandinavia, and since the kids always have hope, since they always have free college, they go to college and get 10 degrees for free. Their crime rate is almost nothing. But when a kid doesn't have access to college or he doesn't have hope, then he can turn to the dark side and start stealing and turning to selling drugs and all that stuff. And I don't understand why people think socialized medicine is so bad. Why wouldn't a poor 21-year-old girl have a right to go see a doctor when she's pregnant? I mean, but America's a different beast. But I'll tell you, after 55 laps around the sun, don't look for much change. Even though I did see a massive change in my lifetime with my little brother. My little brother is gay, and my God, if you had asked me when I was in high school, what's the chance that someday it would be legal for my brother to get married, I'd have said it'd been twice as likely to be hit by a meteorite. But they did it. So, and same thing with marijuana. I mean, in Kansas when I grew up, if you drank a bottle of whiskey and wrecked a truck, you're just a good old cowboy. But if you smoked marijuana, by God, you were a criminal and you were going to jail and your family disowned you. And now you can marry a man and smoke pot. And so I have to admit, I did not see those two things coming at all. So this little girl, here's the problem I see with her a lot of times. If she wants to, you said that she needs to find a mentor. And I tell her if she wants to learn endo, to walk across the street for free and go knock on the endodontist store. But she's got $350,000 in debt, and her best idea is to fly all the way across the country and take some lecture. I can buy Pathways to the Pulp by Stephen Cohen for $200. It was 800 pages. It took a week to read that, and it's pretty much all endodontic information on Earth in one little $200 book. But she always seems to be spending all these money on the most expensive way to learn. Like on Dental Town, the online CE course is $18. Hell, your taxi from the airport to the hotel is more than $18. But specifically, how do you get her to build up the guts that if she wants to learn how to place implants, that she should just go knock on the periodontist store and say, I want to learn to place implants? Half of them will think in fear and scarcity and say, no, if you want to do implants, refer them to me, and just whatever. The other half think, oh, this is cool. I want to mentor you. You'll be my buddy. And I'm sure that no matter how good you get, there will still be cases you're going to send to me, and I'll be your friend. I'll earn your referral. So how do you get her to go find a mentor in her own zip code?
I don't think that mentor has to be in a rich. She doesn't have to go to his office. For example, my mentor, and I lived in Australia, was Pascal Manier. Mentor means I can listen to his lecture, as you said, on the internet. I can read all his articles, read his books. Maybe once in a few years, fly to see him, or when he comes to Australia, sign up to him. It doesn't have to be someone that you can actually see on a daily basis or monthly basis, because you need to work as well. So you're right. Use the internet, use Dental Town, use Dental XP, use those, and I used them a lot when I was busy in my practice, and I still wanted to learn. It's cheap, it's quicker, and you get 1 hour, 2 hour beautiful lectures from that. That's one thing. And regarding, that's the mentoring side of what I'm saying. Regarding if she needs to work for someone or if she needs to open her own clinic, no way. Work for someone until you pay most of your debt. But even if you work for someone, I really want go to work in somewhere that the environment will be teaching environment. So use the dentist next door. If you have more experience than you, walk in, see what he does. It doesn't have to be mentor one man. It can be mentors around you. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned your mentor was Pascal Magne. You're in San Diego. He's up the street in Beverly Hills. He is the father of biomimetic dentistry. Have you shown him your Uveneer?
Oh yeah, we communicate. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He likes it, of course.
He likes it, of course. That is awesome. Yeah, he's an amazing man. Just so, what is he more practice now, or is he at the dental school?
Oh, he's in a dental school. I don't think he practices. He's the head of the restorative in a USC department. And I love the way this university, the USC, teaching their students to do no crown, no posting, the Pascal Magnier thing. Some universities, and I will not say names, they still teach to do amalgam pins. I mean, where even you can buy those. Why to drill a dentin in a tooth to make microfractures? I mean, what is that? They still teach amalgam class 1, class 2, class 3. I mean, you have to know about that, but this is not the main thing.
My favorite economist, when I was getting my MBA, my favorite economist was creative destructionism. Where was he from? But anyway, you can't introduce the Model T car unless you destroy the horse and buggy industry. And destroying segments of the economy is what you have to do to have new growth. And pretty much most societies can only handle about 5% unemployment. So 1 person out of 20 unemployed is about the healthy amount of recycling people from horse and buggies to cars. And when it gets to 10%, then the monkeys get scared. 5% unemployment, if you can't find a job, it's all you. How come you can't find a job? What's wrong with you? At 10% unemployment, now something's wrong with the government, the king. They get very upset. It's a very tight mix. But in a dental school, they can't introduce new classes unless they fire old faculty that have these operative dentistry courses that they've been giving for 20 years. And that's what colleges are worst at. They tenure their teachers. About the only way to get a teacher out of some of those universities, they have to retire. The last 10 years, they should have been turned out to a pasture. And, and universities just don't like creative destructionists. They don't like some young guy coming in saying, okay, we're going to just completely close down this subject, this book, that professor, and we're going to bring in someone 25 years younger who's going to teach all this. They just don't think that way. They're more a bureaucracy,
And it's very sad. I feel it's very sad because they're missing so much, CAD-CAM, milling machine, even Uveneer. This is a new thing that they will make their life much easier. Why not to bring it to universities? Why to be, old-fashioned? And some universities are not like that, but most of them, they, as you said, they are.
So now if you're watching us on YouTube, Ryan, I think we should insert her Uveneer video. You have a very nice video. Can I put that at the end of this podcast?
Yes, of course. I would love if you do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to tell you that was the fastest hour ever. I can't believe we're already at 1 hour and 8 minutes. We actually went over 8 minutes. Hey, I think the world of you. I asked you to be on the show. You didn't ask me. I just think you're all that in a bag of chips. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to all the dentists.
Thank you. I had fun. Thank you. And it's good to meet you at last.
All right. I'll see you soon. Take care.